the meeting. Let's see what happens. So it could be live now, couldn't it? Setting up your
We
meeting.
we probably are live now.
And then it'll be a big delay and it'll look really weird.
Yes, the usual. We just surrender to it. To
Okay.
the Zoom weirdness.
Oh, I love it. Right, let's mute it off, otherwise you'll hear us talking in the background. Oh, welcome. We are live on YouTube. My first ever YouTube live. How exciting. Um, Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. If you're watching this recording or whether you're catching us live, this is our first Wednesday Wellness. Monica and I decided that it was time to have a chat. We keep looking at YouTube videos and watching people talking about stuff that we always talk about. So we figured we'd come on here and talk about it. And if our frequency resonates with you, we would love to share this with you weekly. And yeah, just share a little bit about wellness, a little bit about water, because we both love structured electrolyzed water, and wealth and how it can all flow into abundance. So I'm going to do a little intro first, then we'll talk a little bit about, we both wanted to talk about the pineal gland today, because I feel like it's the beginning of everything. So if we'll go a little bit deeper into that, I just feel like if you're in on a wellness journey and you're starting to explore a little bit more spiritual things and a bit of more holistic side of wellness, the pineal gland is like the root of it all. So I will introduce myself first and then I will introduce Monica. So I'm Ashley, for those that don't know me. I haven't been on YouTube for years. So it's time to come back. I'm getting a bit distracted by all the other social media platforms. And I was like, I just want to have some nice longer videos like I used to do. So here we are. I am a yoga teacher, yoga therapist. I also am a sound healing practitioner. And in my past life, I worked for a pharmaceutical company. So I originally wanted to be a pharmacist. And thinking back now, just thinking where my path has led me, I can't imagine actually being a pharmacist right now. And it's really interesting how the path kind of weaved a completely different plan. So I ended up doing a degree in biomedical science. I loved that. I loved learning as much as I could about science. I've always been connected spiritually. I've always thought something else was going on. I was always that child who believed in magic, that would be running around the field looking for UFOs and talking to myself and seeing things that other people didn't see. But I needed to kind of back it up and try and discover and explore a bit more scientific backing so that I could feel a bit more normal. Does that make sense? You know? So so I think that's where the science, I was fascinated by it. I wanted to find out more and more and more. And then I worked for Big Pharma. I just kind of fell into that job. I was a sales rep. I sold pharmaceuticals for years. I explored yoga at the same time. I think that was my balance between what my soul wanted me to do, but what my head wanted me to do, to try and figure out both paths. And I learned a lot and I loved it. I really did love it until I didn't love it anymore and went a completely different way. So there's a lot more to my story. I've got so many other things that I did in terms of work, but yoga is my passion, and yoga philosophy and all the holistic tools that go with that, and what have I've explored since. And I connected with Monica online. First time I ever went onto TikTok, Monica popped up. So we've been connected for about 4 years, and yeah, we've just become online friends, and we managed to meet for the first time in April, the end of April this year. So that was just divine, because it just showed that our connection wasn't just a weird online thing. So I'll pass you over to Monica and she can tell you her little story as well. So this is Monica.
Oh, thank you so much. Wow, your story, every time I hear it, I take a new piece of it and a new resonance with it. You know, so Ashley and I, was it 4 years ago? I mean, has it been that long? 3 or 4 years ago?
I think so. I think it was, I'm sure it was 21.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I that's like when I started on TikTok. Like you found me when I first went on to TikTok, and it is a testament to the reality, the depth of what we can create in the online space. This digital world where we're all connected, where really the intention of these different social media platforms is to suppress us and keep us in that box. But we have just broken out of that. And when you share your story, Ashley, I'm Monica, by the way, there are so many pieces of it that resonate with me. I really see myself in your story in many ways. And I say that because in a past life, I was a nurse. And when I was younger, I was the kid that was running around the fields, climbing the trees, jumping in the mud puddles, looking at the stars, studying astronomy, reading books about psychics,
Mm-hmm.
intuition. That always deeply resonated with me as a child. And I always really felt like something was missing, like they're not telling us something. I always felt that.
Yeah.
And so I was very artsy growing up. I was a singer, dancer, I was in theater. The arts really lit me up. I never felt very smart, especially when I was in grade school. I didn't get great grades. I had to work really hard. I hated school. But then in high school, something clicked for me where I decided that I was smart. And this is when the scientific part of Monica came to life. And even though I was studying astronomy, it was still very whimsical for me. And it was really about looking at the stars and looking at the constellations. And then I just decided I was smart, and I became very good at math and science. And I grew up to go into the energetic realm and uh, become a massage therapist. But within that, I also got a degree in communication. And then I went back to school and got a degree, my Bachelor of Science in nursing, and became a nurse. And so I, like you, was always trying to find this balance between like the mystical and the scientific. So that is something that we share deeply in common. And we kind of look alike and we have dreams about each other. Like, yeah, our connection is really magical, y'all. She's on not quite the other side of the world, but she's across the ocean in the UK, in Wales, and I'm here in Midwestern United States. And there is a deep soul connection between the two of us. And so both of us love to play in the realm of the physical and the mystical. Like, how do we bridge that gap? And this is something that really resonated with me as a bedside nurse and created a lot of friction in my field because I was handing out narcotics, you know, and all of these different pharmaceutical medications that weren't really treating the root of the problem for patients. It was just amplifying, feeding into that revolving door. And at some point after about 10 years, not quite 10 years, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. My soul would no longer allow me to feed into that system. And my life blew up, really. My work life blew up. It just became very hard to function in that environment. My health blew up. I started to get hives because I was so stressed out about my home life as I became a single parent. And I was felt like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. And this is when I really had to surrender my problems and surrender my stress and surrender my physical ailments and really ask the creator to show me what the new plan was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all through that seed that you planted in the beginning of this, the pineal gland,
Absolutely.
accessing the wisdom that is beyond the physical mind, that is beyond the physical body. And that's where my online journey began. And people really geek out on this stuff. Like
Yeah.
people really want to know, yes, we want to touch the magic and we want to experience the mystical, but there's something very powerful about anchoring the 3D mind in with the knowledge around these physiological processes, these things within our body that help us to actually access the the divine.
Yeah.
So that was my journey to the pineal gland. And I
I love it. And you're right. I love how, some people think the woo-woo spiritual stuff is disconnected from the medical stuff, but actually it can be complementary if it's used properly. But
yeah,
also how, exploring the science behind it, there is science, the pineal gland actually exists. Like some people are like, oh yeah, the third eye. But the third eye, if you say that, people are like, what's that? But actually that is the pineal gland. It's a small little endocrine gland in between your two hemispheres of the brain. In Indian philosophy, it's depicted by two petals, which is the kind of symbolism of the two hemispheres of the brain holding the pineal gland, which I love as well. And also in Indian philosophy, it's called the Agna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly. It's spelled Agna, chakra. And that word in Sanskrit means perception. So there's all of these things that weave together. And also you can go down the Egyptian hieroglyphs that have got the
Eye
either
of Horus.
the eye of Horus or Ra, and if you cross section the pineal gland, it looks like an eye. There's so much to share about the pineal gland. I just find it fascinating. And ultimately, in modern science, it's called the biological clock, and it's connected to melatonin production. So
Hmm.
it's all to do with the circadian rhythm and sleep. However, that is all connected to light. And I love that connection because, when it goes dark at night, we are all programmed. We put our lights on, we sit in front of computers, we've got that fake light. So no wonder people can't sleep properly because we're not in the rhythms of nature. And the pineal gland is active when it's dark because it has all the light within it. I find that kind of blows my mind, and that's the kind of the science connection, isn't it? And it's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super fascinating. And something that comes up for me when you're sharing that is pointing back to our history in the medical system, and how if you look at the way that we treat patients and really the way that we live life, that we're encouraged to live life in general, it's all about suppression of the pineal gland.
Hmm.
So we look at the sleep wake cycle, what you're saying about artificial light and the way in which we don't always really honor the natural rhythm of the sun coming up and the sun going down, the way in which stress hormones, we're encouraged to move quickly and feel this stress and weight of the world, and that suppresses the pineal gland, the way in which modern day hospitals treat patients, you know they're sitting in a dark room, they're not exposed to light, they're given fluoridated water that suppresses the pineal gland. They're giving pharmaceutical medications that are going to throw off the hormone balance of your body, throw off so many processes in the body, and suppress the pineal gland. And so it's like we see really the modern day world is designed to suppress our access to the bigger part of ourselves. And that's where all the solutions are.
Exactly.
Right? They're not here where the problems originate, right? Because the problems originate in the 3D. The problems originate in the physicality of this world. And so, how do we go beyond that to solution as opposed to staying stuck in this energetic pattern that wants to keep flowing because we are habitual by nature? And so that energy, we know the energy wants to flow in the same way unless we give it a pattern interrupt and go beyond the physical body. And that's the key, is there are simple ways that we can allow our pineal gland to cleanse, to activate, but it does require us to activate something new and to be very consistent and persistent and insistent that we invite in change to our life.
Yeah, and I think it starts with acceptance that it's there and this stuff happens. And then once you realize, you
Ah, I love that.
once you do, you start to just go down these rabbit holes, right? We can go down rabbit holes of whether it's all designed to shut you off from that spiritual realm. You know, that's a massive rabbit hole that can take you all sorts of places.
Right.
Good luck with that, everybody. Some of you might be down a million rabbit holes, but a calcified, like a shrunken pineal gland, is it creates fear, mistrust, anxiety, can lead to depression. If your pineal gland is blocked, they are all the symptoms. So the root of this is to kind of start to do practices to decalcify that pineal gland so that you can start to feel better in your body. Because if there's so many people with fear, anxiety, worry, anger, and all that kind of stuff, and depression, and it's all looking outside yourself because there's a disconnection. And I just find that fascinating. And to try and work on simple tools that can decalcify this tiny little gland that apparently is like the size of a grain of rice now, but it used to be the size of an actual eyeball. You know, if you have I don't know if that's true, but I heard that kind of that's the Egyptian theory that it was huge back in the day before we were bombarded with all these poisons and toxins. And even in your mind, like an opened pineal gland can you just see more in terms of your possibilities, and it's more hopeful. I think that's the main thing, that it can open up just knowing that you're not stuck. I get the impression that if your pineal gland's really closed and stuff, you just feel like this, that's it then, isn't it? You need to
Yeah.
expand and open up, and there are so many tools to do it. And there's one really simple one to use in yoga. It's called nada yoga, and just to sit. And it's like a meditation, but people get scared of that as well because, you know, clearing your mind, it's pretty much impossible. You don't need to clear your mind. You just need to kind of detach and observe what's going on. And it's really nice. It's using sound. So they're my two favorite things linked together. So if you're sitting, close your eyes and just focus on sounds around you. So you start with the sounds furthest away, and you're just noticing what you can hear, and you bring your awareness closer and closer and closer to, you know, birds or whatever else you can hear around you. You might be in your house, you might be able to hear a clock ticking, whatever noise is, and then you bring the sound internal. So you start to hear your breath. You might even be able to hear your a heartbeat, and just that alone can apparently start to decalcify the pineal gland because you're starting to tune into the vibration of the universe. I love that because
I love that too. I've never
and
heard that.
it's so simple. And that is, I think that's the first simplest practice because so many people do not sit still anymore. And just to take, I'm talking to myself, I've been really busy today. I was like, oh, when am I going to stop?
Right now, when we're sitting here, this is perfect.
Yeah, so this isn't like preaching because we know everything. This is practices that we actually put into practice because we still, you know, we've both got three kids. We are busy. And
Yeah.
to have these tools in your tool belt to be able to go, oh, you know, 5 minutes of nada yoga, which is just listening, just sitting and listening. It's
5 minutes.
simple.
5 minutes.
It's nothing.
Right. And I want people to think about how many times you waste 5 minutes throughout the day. You know what I
Rolling.
mean?
Oh my goodness.
Scrolling, like we get to replace behaviors, and then
Yeah.
it completely rewires the brain when we're doing that. So my favorite practice is connected to EFT tapping.
Hmm.
So emotional freedom technique, tell us in the comments if you know what it is. It's very simple. It's something that you can actually do while you drive. One hand on the wheel. Disclaimer, don't freaking wreck. Don't be silly, right? But it gets to be very simple. Like while I'm driving, I'll have one hand on the wheel and I'll just tap my heart space. Like right here between my heart, I'll tap. And so what this is doing is it's actually sending a signal to your amygdala that you're safe. And you don't have to say anything. You can just tap with the intention to feel safety, or you can say, I am safe. I trust something. I like to say, like, I trust my creator. I trust, I am certain that my creator cares for me. So you get to say what feels present for you. Maybe if you've had an argument with someone, that may be kind of active in your field and in your body, and you just get to tap and kind of feel that and say, I choose a different feeling right now. And
Mm.
so what's happening is the amygdala in your brain, which is kind of in the center of your brain as well, that's our fear center. And why is this important to the pineal gland? Because fear, the feeling of fear, the being in the sympathetic nervous system that is our fight or flight, that suppresses your pineal gland.
Yeah.
Those fear chemicals that are released in your body, it suppresses that. And we're so full of fear. We're so encouraged to be going, 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 constantly moving, constantly in that getting shit done
And being
frequently.
fearful of things externally that you aren't actually in your existence. They're not actually in, if you didn't see it, you wouldn't even know about it. So you don't need to be fearful about it. Your fear is not helping anyone. You can send compassion, but actually being in fear of something that might happen because it's happening over there is so debilitating, isn't it?
Is and you actually create that pathway energetically. And
Yeah.
this is not woo, this is science. This is where your focus goes. That's really where your reality flows.
Yeah.
So the simple practice of really relaxing your amygdala is what we're doing, is we're retraining our amygdala, decalcifies the pineal gland. And it's so simple and it's so effective, and it's physical and energetic. And then that's what I like about your yoga practice too, is it's more comprehensive. So when we drink better water, which is, drink non-fluoridated water,
Yeah.
we are decalcifying the pineal gland. When we're eating non-toxic foods, when we're eating whole foods from the earth, we are decalcifying it. And that's very much an essential part of the plan. But everything starts with energy first.
Mhm.
And so if you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I would even get good water, I don't even know how I would pay for organic food. The important thing, the most important, is to start with the energetic, because when you get into the energetic realm, that's where all the solutions are, beyond the physical body. And then what happens is the pathway for you to access the physical shift, it opens up to you. It,
Yeah.
it, it has to. It's a law of the universe. Like, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Yeah, absolutely.
Inevitable.
And that's why I do that gratitude practice, which you did as well. You introduced me to that. So just to be able to write, even that simple task is a brilliant way to start, isn't it? Just write down things that you're grateful for that are in your present moment right now. And I always say, if you can't think of anything to be grateful for, you can always be grateful for your breath. Because if you're not breathing, you're not here. So
Yeah.
follow the breath, listen to the breath. Then you've got that Nada yoga practice and you've ticked two boxes of wellness tips.
I love that.
Yeah, and just to so I've lost my train of thought now. The pineal gland um being affected by fear and worry and all of that kind of stuff. Um Once you start to decalcify it, you do get that feeling of safety. And I feel like most people don't feel safe. So they're always in fight or flight, which is then screwing your nervous system over. So it's all connected, isn't it? It's all connected. So once you can get out of that fight or flight, and have that sense of safety. So your EFT tapping, just telling yourself you're safe, breathing, telling yourself you're safe is just an amazing practice to do. And it's so easy and everyone can do it.
And
Yeah.
in the moment that you are not feeling safe, you start tapping, you will tap into safety. It
Mhm.
will relax the nervous system and open you up to the bigger part of yourself.
So the challenge is remembering in that moment when you're freaking out for whatever reason. It's
Yeah, it's
remembering.
because we got to train ourselves to react in a new way, right? So instead of like flipping out in the moment, you just start tapping.
And everyone
And
thinks,
it becomes, yeah, and it becomes the new you.
yeah, And
you
that's why
know?
you do the practices when you're feeling good, because it's already in there as a program. So you're programming
Yeah.
yourself to be able to actually remember these things when you do feel like you've gone off on la la stress mode, which is why these practices are so good. And it's why you should, yeah, take the time to practice, even when you're feeling amazing. Even better when you're feeling amazing, because you're going to relate it to feeling amazing, and then
Yes.
you'll be more successful with it. Um, yeah,
So tell us in the comments, what practices do you use?
yeah, share.
So we can educate one another. I have so many, I have a big toolbox and we'll keep sharing our tools with you. And we so appreciate you to do the same. So tell us what you're doing. Give us a new tool, please.
Absolutely. Because yeah, I love it because there's so many tools, and everyone will have a different tool, and everyone will resonate with different tools. And but they all work, and they will even work even better if you believe that they work. So that's another element to this, isn't it? Your belief
Yeah.
is everything. If you don't believe anything's happening, then nothing will, nothing will be solved. So I love that quote from Roald Dahl. Those who believe in magic. No, if you don't believe in magic, you won't find it, pretty much. Because yeah, you create your reality with your thoughts. And if you always think everything's bad, your body, we can go further into this, parts of the brain, the reticular activating system will find evidence for you to support your belief, whether you're right or wrong, you're right, if that makes sense. Because you will just create what you're thinking about. Your body doesn't know whether you want it or not. It just knows that you're thinking about it, and that's the frequency that you're holding. So we want to surround ourselves with people and situations, and just things that do light you up and that kind of bring you joy and make you feel uplifted. If you feel heavy around people, they're probably not the people that you want to be necessarily spending a lot of your time with. And that sounds really harsh, because there might be, people that you spend lots of time with that don't make you feel good, and it's a choice. It's all a choice.
Yeah. That might be step one,
Mm.
really, is to really become aware of like who are you surrounding yourself with.
Yeah.
And this was a slow process for me, really. I don't want to say weeding it out, but weeding out, but for lack of a better term, like really weeding out the people in my life who do not have a desire to expand,
Yeah.
because it is so much easier to expand when you surround yourself with people who desire to expand. That's very important. And you don't actually owe anyone anything. You owe yourself and you owe the world, if you want to make an impact, to actually create space for yourself that supports your expansion, because we can only really give from overflow if we want to give from like the right space, if we want to shift from this like martyrdom mentality, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we should definitely do a pineal gland part two. Like I
Yeah.
think next week we should go even deeper.
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe we can share some of the tools that you all drop in the comments for us, so we can, you know, illuminate what you're already doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody fancies a little guest slot to join and share
Oh,
stuff, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
that
Because
would be amazing.
yeah, I'd love for this to just continue, so we can just expand and learn from each other, because there's so much information out there. There's so many different tools. There's so many different people who hold so much magic, and it's lovely to learn from everybody and try and just see what tools work for you. And yeah, we'd like to collaborate and do more magical things. Do you want to go deeper into that, Monica, about
Yeah.
magic?
Yeah. Let's go deeper into that. Before we talk about that, I do want to let everyone know that in the description, let's link our other socials.
Okay.
And in particular, because we both done some posts around the pineal gland.
Yeah. That means I have to
Let's,
get back on TikTok. I'm going to have to do it.
you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it for sure. So on
Uh,
TikTok, I am at Monica Painter 11, if anyone wants to check out my socials. But we've both done some fun, magical posts around the brain, and in particular the pineal gland, that will light you up.
Yeah,
Very fun. Very fun.
that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So how much deeper are we going with do we want to talk about the retreat?
Well, yeah. So the reason, well, not the reason, we were friends anyway, but I finally awakened my pineal gland enough to trust my instincts and actually take the plunge, didn't I? And actually come and invest in a beautiful, conscious, amazing business. We're not here to go like hugely deep into that today, but I wanted to collaborate with Monica to, and this is all around water and how I love water, and the more I learn about it, the more magical it becomes. Because to me, it was just water and H2O, right? Especially doing my science degree, that's water. But then finding more about molecular hydrogen and the benefits that molecular hydrogen has in your body, and the just how that can completely change your physicality and help with healing and decalcifying pineal gland. There's so much magic that can go into that. But we wanted to share our tools in a physical manner as well. So to be able to collaborate and tie in this gorgeous water and our tools of holistic, loveliness. So my sound healing and yoga, and just to gather people together in a physical sense. That's what we want to achieve maybe next year. Did you want to expand?
Yeah, next year for sure.
Yeah, that would be
And
so
so you will hear more
cool.
as the details ground into the physical for us will share with you. And it really is going to be a magical opportunity that will allow us to come together as women, to share space together, to activate one another physically, energetically, to share gifts. Our goal really is to bring women together who have gifts to share. You can come to this space, this retreat, and simply receive if that is your calling, or if you have a gift that you want to bring. Maybe you have a set of drums, you
That would
know, that drum, we got to have some drums for sure.
be good.
Maybe your gift is culinary in some way. And there really is no limit to where we want to go with this, that we just deeply desire to bring women together in collaboration with the intention to heal our physical bodies, like deeply, fully nourish our physical bodies in every single way, from every angle at this retreat, to deeply connect with our creator and allow the light of God to flow into our lives and activate our soul missions, and to support all of that with the highest frequency water,
Yeah.
because we are water. And yes, from a physical perspective, we have got to have high quality hydration that our body recognizes, that's going to put our body into a healing state so that it can do innately what it knows how to do. But from the bigger perspective, energetically, we are frequency beings. And the level of light that is coming into the earth right now, the question is, can your physical vessel hold that light? Because if you think about your physical vessel as like a cup,
Hmm.
right? That cup is a certain size. And when you're pouring in light, we'll call it water right now, when you're pouring water, light into that physical vessel that is your body or the cup, at some point it's going to overflow. And so, yes, we want these light codes, right? Like we want to connect with like the Schumann resonance and all of the amplified energies of the earth. But how can we provide space through things like this, but then also physically coming together in a retreat space to allow us to prepare our physical vessel to hold the light that is coming in? Because if we can't hold the light, what happens is there's overflow, right? There's chaos. The vessel can't hold all of that water, and then there's flooding and all of these things. If we prepare our vessel intentionally, consistently, persistently, then we actually get to create this heaven on earth. And that's what we want. Like, we want to help you create your version of heaven on earth. That's the goal. It looks different for everyone, but the tools are the same, right? The energetics are the same. The frequency is the same. And so it's like that. I feel like it's this kind of culmination, this kind of pinnacle moment every year that we want to create this magical space to, we all just get to erupt. We get to all erupt in this beautiful retreat experience. So keep watching.
Keep watching.
Keep your eye on this space.
I love it. So we'll be back every Wednesday. If you're in the UK watching this, it's 2 p.m. So for those who have got school runs to do, we can still go and pick up the kids. That's why I chose this time. And for Monica,
9 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And it's going to be recorded and it's here, so you can catch up on all the episodes, and we'll just see where we go. But pineal gland type episode 2.
Yes.
That's very exciting. So we'll put links in descriptions for socials and all that kind of stuff. Write your comments. We would love to respond to them and just see, what tools you use, and how you felt about this conversation, and if there's specific subjects that you'd like us to cover. That's a good challenge.
Yes.
And we'll see what we can come up with, because it's just really nice the more you talk about it, the more you realize how much information you've actually restored and how much you actually know and how much you can share, which is lovely. So
yes, it feels good.
Yeah. Happy Wednesday. Me and my
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, we call each other every Wednesday and call it a Wednesday waffle. So, but we're not waffling here.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah. See you soon, everybody. Right. I've got to figure out how to go off live now. Wish me luck.